Listen to how everything sings. The streams and stones, leaves and branches, fish and fur-covered ones, birds leading the chorus. See how your desire to praise is echoed in every living thing. How in quiet moments the heart is moved to gratitude for all of creation, for the lavish abundance of it all. How nothing is earned, no achievements are needed. May you simply show up with breath, blood, and bones, and your loving attention to hymns erupting everywhere, until you can no longer tell where yours begin and nature's ends.
Hey everyone, I'm Reverend Laura Kigweba, the Director of Grassroots Organizing at the General Board of Church and Society for the United Methodist Church. And here we are in Dubai, UAE at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, also the Conference of the Party, the 28th session. The Conference of the Parties are where member states, countries from all over the world come together to specifically address climate change. And we are here as United Methodists, we are here as people of faith to truly live our witness, to seek justice, to pursue peace.
Hi, this is John Hill with Church and Society, and I'm outside of COP28 where the formal negotiations are taking place. Inside this security perimeter is where all the parties to the Framework Convention on Climate Change, as well as those of us who are accredited observers, are meeting to try and build consensus for greater ambition to tackle the climate crisis. This COP started out a little different than some of the other COPs we've attended in that there was actually a decision text the very first day. This was a decision around something called the Loss and Damage Fund. We, as the faith community, much of civil society has been advocating for this for many, many years. So we're grateful that the COP actually agreed to operationalize the Loss and Damage Fund and that countries are beginning to make pledges to this. This is a fund that will assist the most climate vulnerable countries who are bearing the brunt of the climate catastrophe right now. The US has made a commitment, unfortunately it's a very small commitment of only 17.5 million US dollars, pales in comparison to some of the other country commitments. And for me, this really shows this intersection between the international conversations and domestic politics. So those of us in the US understand that we have to continue to do advocacy in support of climate finance so that the US Congress will actually appropriate the dollars, because no country can commit internationally what they can't deliver domestically. The track that I've been really focused on is climate finance here at the COP, and I'll say I've really observed quite a disconnect and some underlying distrust among the parties. So the least developed countries, low-income countries, are really calling to task those higher income developed countries who have not met their current obligations. A long time ago, we pledged to mobilize at least $100 billion annually. That pledge hasn't been committed, so they're very skeptical of any additional pledges going forward. I think our hope again is that countries will be bold in their actions, bold in their commitments to actually phasing out the use of fossil fuels, as well as bold in their commitments to mobilizing the necessary finance to meet the needs of climate vulnerable countries. So as we leave COP28 and return to our home countries, it's really important for us to maintain our commitment to advocacy at all levels, at the local level, state level, and national level. Again, the Paris Agreement was actually built from nationally determined contributions from the bottom up rather than the top down. So it's really important for us at every level to do the advocacy necessary to meet the urgent needs of the climate crisis. That's advocacy about emissions reductions, right? Moving to a clean, green, healthy economy in our transportation sector, in our power sector. Making sure that the Inflation Reduction Act passed at the national level is actually fully implemented, that we hold the administration accountable to the pledges they made about methane reduction through regulations. And again, at the state and county and local level, we have a lot of work to do to make sure that the US and really every country is doing the work on both mitigation, reducing emissions, and mobilizing climate finance that's necessary to meet the climate crisis.
My name is Shamisowine Jimpara. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm from the Zimbabwe East Annual Conference. I'm one of the grassroots organizers under Climate Justice, and part of the work that I do is actually to do education and awareness and advocating for climate justice for all in Zimbabwe and across the globe. As a person of faith, I think it's very important that we are here. Why? Because we have a mandate, or we have a commandment from God, Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, to be able to take care of the Garden of Eden. And the Garden of Eden is everything around us, including water, air, the soils. So why is it important that we are here? We need to be able to protect God's creation. Not only that, we also need to be the beacon of light to find solutions for all this, for the people in the world, to show that we are here not as victims, but as change makers that are providing solutions to climate change. I think what I'm hoping for from this COP, unlike any other COPs, it's action from the climate financing. For years now, even after the Paris Agreement has been enacted, we have seen a lot of pledges of money that have been coming through, but not even the actual money for climate action. We need to see that money being pledged and that money being delivered to communities that really need it the most. We need climate adaptation measures that can be implemented at a local level that can help communities. We have been seeing a lot of destruction, a lot of degradation that is happening due to climate change. We also have been seeing a lot of cyclones, a lot of fires, a lot of droughts, and all these are affecting a lot of people. For example, in Zimbabwe, we saw one of the worst cyclone, which is Cyclone Idai in 2019. And up to today, most of the schools, communities that were destroyed, they have not been rehabilitated, or they have not been rebuilt. We need to see action. We need to see finances being actually made available for communities to rebuild and to also build resilience. For me, justice is actually speaking out for those who can't speak, giving voice to the voiceless, standing here representing all the marginalized communities that are in the world, not just in Zimbabwe, but the whole of Africa and also globally, that are being affected by climate change. We need to continue talking, we need to continue pressing, we need to actually continue advocating and make sure that all the world leaders, we are in one agreement to say we need to take action. You remember that the time there was Greta said there's a lot of climate blah, 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 a lot of talk, but without action. We need to take action. As a people of faith, we can't play victim forever. For the longest time, church has been church always takes a responsive approach to disasters, whereby they wait for the disaster to happen and then they actually start sending aid like clothes, food, all those things. But no, we can't be responsive. We need to actually take a preventative measure where we do all the actions that are needed to ensure that the impacts of climate change are not that bad. We need to start planting trees. We need also to start practicing climate smart agriculture. And we also need to be the beacon in clean energy. For example, let's have our churches using solar. Let's cook with gas. Together we can make this. I think there's just one thing that have struck me from the COP26 that former Vice President of the United States said, I'll go to say, why are religious people important in the climate change movement? The history shows that faith people are change makers, or they are at the center of revolutions, be it apartheid, be it the Black Lives Matter movement. We have seen a lot of church people, your Martin Luther King, right at the center of human rights, advocacy. So the same thing, we are faced with a new problem that needs a lot of Christians or religious people to take part in. Why should we take part in? Religious people form a greater part. Billions and billions of people, they belong to any church, they belong to a certain church or to a certain religion. Imagine every church leader would, call upon all his church members to do just one positive thing for climate change. That would definitely run into millions or into billions of positive actions. We need to do that.